We've been talking a lot lately about undisclosed sponsorships and deceptive ads within the TikTok community. Since TikTok is such a new platform, it's kind of been a free-for-all when it comes to not disclosing properly. The FTC has an influencer guideline handbook that mainly mentions things relating to Instagram, YouTube, streaming, and so on. But since TikTok is unique with its own unique interface, influencers have taken advantage of that and have just thrown everything we've learned over the years out the window. It wasn't until Lash Gate happened that a lot of people started to catch on to these TikTokers, and we've all been waiting for the FTC to finally start taking action against these people. Well, that time has finally come. The FTC put out new guidelines and even cleared up old ones, and a lot of them relate to things going on over on TikTok. I think Jen Loves was the first person to catch on to these new rules, so I'll have her video linked down below for you guys, but we have a lot to talk about. It's a mess, so let's get into it. The rules when it comes to sponsorships and affiliations with brands have always seemed pretty simple. If you have a relationship with a brand, if they're sending you a free product, if you are paid to review something, if you're making money from your links, then disclose it. Let your audience know so people can decide how much validity they want to give to your recommendation. It's simple, but to this day, it seems like a lot of influencers are still having trouble with it. Even after the FTC released this very easy to follow guidebook on disclosures for influencers, some of them still never caught on. I will say, a lot of creators on YouTube finally caught on and realized they couldn't get away with being dishonest anymore and actually made the changes to become more transparent. But as you guys know, and as we've been talking about for months now, TikTok is a whole different story. We've seen a whole new set of problems that we've never seen before when it comes to TikTok. From creators trying to hide their disclosure in small font hidden behind some spot for like 2 seconds at the start of the video, burying the disclosure in the hashtags, or simply just using the TikTok disclosure tool. Hardly any of them are ever disclosing verbally, and that's a huge problem.
You already know how obsessed I am with Clean Reserve perfumes in general. They just came out with a brand new perfume called Sparkling Sugar. Oh my God. They sent me a bottle of this months ago. I'm still not used to it. I get compliments every time I wear it. It lasts on me all day. It literally is like warm, yummy, clean, and like sexy. It's sweet, but it's not too sweet. It's still just like packs a punch. It's so good. Okay, I'm done. That's it. Woo!
The FTC have finally released new clarification and even some new rules for influencers to follow, and we're gonna go through some of the main ones that influencers seem to have the most issues with. Let's start off with one of the main comments that I see whenever I talk about people like Macleod not disclosing properly. Isn't it common knowledge that social media influencers, bloggers, and other content creators are paid to tout products, or that if you click on their links to buy a product, they will get a commission? A lot of people think that it should just be common knowledge now that influencers are being paid for whatever they talk about or link, so it shouldn't really matter. But the FTC is saying it does in fact matter. They wrote, "It may seem like common knowledge that some of them get paid this way, but others may have no connection to marketers whose products they mention. They may not get a commission or anything else for their recommendations, which they may be making only because they believe in those products." And that's true. There are some influencers who will shout out products and tell us about something that they love, even if they aren't being paid. Not every product that someone mentions or links is a sponsorship, and that's why it's so important for influencers to actually disclose when they are sponsored. They continued, "The existence of financial agreements between some content creators and advertisers may be apparent to some people, but not to everyone. Under the law, an act or practice is deceptive if it misleads a significant minority of customers. That's why disclosure is important." Pretty much, you can't just assume that everyone knows about influencer culture and how to spot an ad. If you're getting kickback for something, you need to disclose it. The next point touches on influencers who receive PR. A lot of the times we see influencers get products for free in PR, and most of the time, they aren't disclosing it. For all we know, the product might be it, but in an effort to stay on that PR list, they're giving it a glowing review. It's important to know what products were free and what was bought with their own money so viewers can decide how much weight they want to give to those reviews. The FTC agrees with that, writing, "If you receive free products or other perks with the expectation that you'll promote or discuss the advertiser's products in your blog, the FTC Act applies to you." Now, influencers might go, well, the brand is sending this to me with no strings attached. They aren't expecting me to post about it. They're maybe hoping I do, but I'm not expected to. The FTC isn't letting influencers get away with that excuse either. They address that concern too and use the example of an influencer who has a channel reviewing knives, and companies send him free knives hoping that he reviews them, but also stating that he has no obligation to actually review them. The FTC responded and said, "Even if you don't think it affects your evaluation, what matters is whether the fact that you got the knife for free might affect how your audience views what you say about it. It doesn't matter that you aren't required to review every knife you receive. Your viewers may assess your review differently if they knew you got the knife for free, so we advise disclosing that fact." And you guys know, most creators over on TikTok aren't doing that.
I got my first PR box ever. This box is from Merit Beauty, which is a clean, vegan, and cruelty-free makeup brand. And I'm so excited to open. I'm so excited. This is so cute. And inside is this beauty. So they sent me their limited edition holiday collection. I think it's called Le Fête.
I feel like some reviews are obvious because they get sent these like huge elaborate PR boxes, but I bet like 99% of the makeup they're reviewing is most likely sent to them for free, and something tells me this guideline is going to be a bit difficult for them to follow. Since brand trips have been on the rise again recently and a lot of controversy has come from them, the FTC added clarification when it comes to disclosure with brand trips. Someone asked, "I'm a blogger and a company wants me to attend the launch of its new product. They will fly me to the launch and put me up in a hotel for a couple of nights. They aren't paying me or giving me anything else. If I write a blog sharing my thoughts about the product, should I disclose anything?" And the FTC says yes. You should disclose that you receive free travel and accommodations because it could affect how much weight your readers give to your thoughts about the product. I will say, I do think influencers have been pretty good about making sure people know that they're on a brand trip and that's why they're using a specific product.
Get ready with me in Turks and Caicos. Right, I've been using the new Tarte Shape Tape Radiant Concealer. My skin has never looked better.
I mean, if anything, half of them don't even talk about the brand's products on the trip. When Tarte brought all those influencers to Dubai, hardly any of them even used a single Tarte product, so at least this guideline will be easy for influencers to follow. The next clarification they made is one that I'm actually really happy to see. In the past, when we've talked about influencers not disclosing properly, one of the main offenders I always point out is Nikki tutorials. There's never any verbal disclosure, there's never written disclosure, and sometimes she doesn't even put a hashtag. Whenever I talk about Nikki, a lot of people say that since Nikki lives outside of the US, the FTC regulations probably don't apply to her and she probably did nothing wrong. Well, that's actually not true. Someone living outside of the US asked the FTC about this and wrote, "I'm a video blogger who lives in London. I create sponsored videos on YouTube for products that are sold in the US. Do I need to tell my viewers that I've been paid to endorse the products even though I don't live in the US?" And the FTC says it doesn't matter where you live. They wrote, "If it's reasonably foreseeable that your YouTube videos will be seen by and impact US consumers, US law would apply and you would need a disclosure." And all the brands that Nikki takes sponsorships from that she isn't disclosing properly are all brands sold in the US and are being watched by US consumers. Looks like she has some changes to make. The next clarification pertains to influencer-owned brands. We've seen a rise over the past few years of influencers coming out with their own products, and the FTC is clarifying proper disclosure for them. Someone asked, "An influencer creates their own brand and sells their product through their social media accounts and website. Do they need to disclose anything?" And they say, if it's obvious from an influencer's endorsement that the brand is the influencer's own, no disclosure is necessary. If it's not clear or sometimes not clear that it's the influencer's brand, that fact should be disclosed. The way I'm taking that is, let's say Jaclyn Hill is promoting Jaclyn Hill Cosmetics. You're gonna know that that's her brand. But when it's someone like Addison Rae when she had Item Beauty, it's not obviously clear unless you're a fan of her that that's her brand, and she should probably be disclosing that. They also clarified how influencers should be disclosing their sponsorships. They said tagging the brand isn't good enough, and the disclosure should be clear and easy to understand. Something like, this is an ad for brand. This is a video paid for by brand. And how many influencers do you know, especially on TikTok, who are actually saying that? Hardly any. Here's where we get into all the new TikTok stuff. TikTok has only blown up in the last few years, so most of the FTC guidelines only mention things like Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Of course, it's common knowledge to know that you should be applying those same rules to TikTok, but as we've seen, that isn't happening. The FTC has finally addressed TikTok and how these creators should be disclosing. Starting off, someone asked, if I upload a video to TikTok and that video requires a disclosure, can I put the disclosure in the text description of the video? I mean, we're lucky to see influencers even do that. Usually their disclosure is hidden in the hashtags, you have to press on more, and it's not initially clear. The FTC actually says only disclosing in the description box isn't good enough. Writing, the text description on TikTok is in small print. It doesn't stand out and it often doesn't contrast against the background of the video. Also, TikTok videos often have many competing elements. A disclosure in the text description is thus very unlikely to be clear and conspicuous. When content creators want viewers to read something, they superimpose much larger text over their videos. This is going to be a huge issue for all the usuals that we talk about. We aren't even getting description disclosures from them, and those aren't even good enough. It should be written over the physical video in large enough font for people to read and easily see. I honestly don't think I've seen any creators on TikTok do that, and if they do, it's usually in small print, hidden near the bottom, and only left up for a few seconds. Meredith Duxbury recently did a sponsorship for the new Maybelline skin tint, and although she did put the hashtag Maybelline partner before having to press more, she hid the physical text disclosure under the search bar. Of course, there was no verbal disclosure either, which is another huge problem. Someone asked if they can just superimpose the large text over their video and have that be good enough, and the FTC says no. It depends how you make the endorsement in the video. As the endorsement guides say, if the endorsement is made through visual means, the disclosure should be made at least visually. If the representation is made audibly, the disclosure should be at least audibly. And if the representation is made through both visual and audible means, the disclosure should be made both visually and audibly. A disclosure presented in both the visual and audible portions of an ad is more likely to be clear and conspicuous. And these updated guidelines have been out for nearly a month now, and so far, I really haven't seen any improvements. Like I said, at least Meredith did put her hashtag whatever partner before having to press more, but Michaela, on the other hand, isn't doing too good. Michaela's been posting a bunch of sponsored content lately, and not only is there no verbal disclosure, there's no disclosure over the video, none in the description. The only disclosure that we can see is buried in the hashtags after having to press more. The FTC also says the disclosure banner that TikTok provides isn't good enough either. Someone asked, the social media platform I use has a built-in feature that allows me to disclose paid endorsements. Can I just rely on that tool? And they said, not necessarily. It's good that some platforms offer these tools, and we don't want to dissuade you from using them. But just because a platform offers this feature, it's no guarantee that it's an effective way for influencers to disclose their material connection to a brand. A lot of influencers will also use hashtag ad in their post, and that's actually fine. Using hashtag ad is seen as proper disclosure. The only problem is it should be at the very beginning of the post. Most influencers I've seen use hashtag ad all the way at the end of their caption or hidden in their hashtags. So I think it's safe to say most creators on TikTok aren't following these guidelines even after everything was updated and clarified for them. Ever since Lash Gate happened, so many people have been educated on how to spot an ad and when a creator is being deceptive, and we've all been saying it's only a matter of time before the FTC finally starts cracking down on them as well. So far, I haven't heard of any influencers on TikTok being fined, but I'm sure they'll give people warnings and a chance to clean things up before that ever happens. The thing is, there's just so many creators on TikTok and so many ads, it's gonna be extremely difficult for them to monitor everyone. Who knows if these influencers will ever be caught, but at least people viewing their content are finally realizing the tricks and tactics they use to hide their affiliations with these brands. Anyways, guys, let me know what you think about everything down below, and I'll see you next time.
I bought this shit myself. This is not a fucking ad. Okay? Fuck off.